Rising out of the Oklahoma prairie is a football palace. Most days it stands silent, almost solemn, as people from across the globe pass without so much as a glimpse in its direction. But 6 or 7 times a year, it rumbles to life, opening its portals for tens of thousands of orange-clad football fanatics, all here to shout and cheer for a team, a school they hold so dear. But this magnificent edifice is more than just a game day gathering place. It's the realization of a commitment, a dream, a passion of the man who seemingly in one fell swoop breathed life back into an ailing athletic program. And the stadium bears his name, T. Boone Pickens.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of the OK Sports Wrap. I'm Abigail Ogle, and tonight we take you inside the world of Oklahoma State's biggest fan, T. Boone Pickens. The billionaire businessman from Holdenville, Oklahoma, tells us about his life, his passions, and his work surrounding Cowboy athletics. And when you talk OSU with T. Boone, you have no choice but to start with this spectacular stadium. But as any longtime Cowboys football fan knows, this stadium wasn't always a source of pride. In fact, until T. Boone got involved, it was kind of an eyesore.
Do you remember the old stadium?
I do.
Okay. Well, you know, whatever you did, if you knocked it down, you'd have improved it. It was a sad old rusted stadium, and so everything, you know, was new, and like old Barry Switzer said, he said that OSU has bright, shiny, and new, and he said that's a great recruiting tool. Kids are impressed with it. They are. I'm impressed with it too. Every game I go to, I get a thrill just walking in the stadium.
And walking into the luxurious offices of BP Capital in Dallas, T. Boone's company, we got a similar thrill. Even in the lobby, the stadium greets you with the Big 12 championship trophy that OSU claimed in 2011. In fact, T. Boone says that accomplishment is the one thing he's most proud of as a Cowboys fan.
The proudest moment was when we beat OU last year. That was big. But the last 2 years we beaten Texas too. But I'd rather beat OU and first, Texas second.
I mean, what was going through your mind? Did you think, we've finally done it?
It's exactly what I thought, is by God, we made it.
And didn't you grow up going to OU games?
We were only 75 miles, and I was never on the Stillwater campus until I went over and tried out for basketball in 1947. You remember back 5 years ago, and I made the speech where I said that I don't want to hear anybody here at OSU ever say they hate the Sooners, because I was brought up in Oklahoma that you never hate anybody. I remember one time a guy said, of all the people I love him least of all. But he wouldn't say he hated him. And we don't hate the Sooners. We're, you know, not all of us, but a great part of their organization and ours. We're all from Oklahoma. And I see it as a game we desperately want to win, and when the game's over, 24 hours later, we're all from Oklahoma.
Right.
We just had a football game, but out of the football game, we didn't hate anybody. And so I think that I got that stopped at Stillwater, and it's just not something that I don't think is becoming for somebody to say something like that.
And out in one of his office's hallways, a photo collage commemorating the moment the Cowboys dominated the Sooners and became the 2011 Big 12 champs.
And this was the moment where you thought, we've done it.
Well, it was a lot of progress pretty quick, but I expect more.
That is the hallmark of T. Boone's mentality. Expecting anything less than perfection is just not acceptable. It's a philosophy he says he developed back in his hometown of Holdenville, Oklahoma. thanks in part to a stern grandma.
I had a paper route when I was 12 years old and always had a job after that. And somebody said, "Oh, you just worked all your life." Hey, I didn't see it that way. I saw it as an opportunity, not as work. And my grandmother would always, "Have you got your summer job?" That question first came in March. She said, "You better get your summer job or the other guy's going to beat you to the jobs." And so I started looking for a summer job in March.
What would you say, did you learn anything from being a paper boy? Did you learn any kind of business practices back then when you were 12?
I learned a lot about people, that you're in a depression and people don't want to pay for anything. And so they would dodge me on payment. But I had the best collection record of any of the paper boys, and there were 12 paper boys. And I'd stay after them. And a lot of times I went to the back door and they would open the back door before they would the front door to try to collect. And I had 28 papers my first route, Holdenville Daily News, now Holdenville Tribune. But the Daily News, 28 papers, and I made a penny a paper a day.
Wow.
And I was never without money after that.
Boone would eventually graduate from 28 cents a day. He went on to find much of his financial success trading on the New York Stock Exchange.
This right here are the 5 companies that I took on the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay.
And those were done, first one's 1969.
Yeah, I see.
I went on the American Stock Exchange in '64.
Do you enjoy that? I feel like that'd be so stressful. You do enjoy doing stock exchange, that kind of stuff?
Sure. Yeah, it's not stressful, it's fun.
Although Boone says the stock market isn't stressful, it is time-consuming. Boone checks the huge screen at the back of his conference room several times a day.
Hey, David. Yes, sir. Boy, oil's up $2. Getting stronger.
Yes, sir. Very near the highs of the day. TI's recovered.
Yeah.
Relative to Brent. Gas, though, you know, even with the stronger numbers, can't get it going anywhere. So.
Okay.
You probably noticed Boone's fluffy sidekick. After the break, we meet the most important guy in the office. Plus, we talk with Boone, the president of BP Capital, about his special relationship with another president, Ronald Reagan, when KSBI's conversation with Boone continues.
Hello, I'm KSBI Sports Director Mark Van Possen. I hope you're enjoying this special edition of the OK Sports Wrap, Up Close with Boone. I want to invite you to tune in every weeknight at 6:30 here on KSBI as OK Sports Wrap showcases the best that high school, college, and professional sports has to offer here in Oklahoma. It's 30 minutes of sports presented in a way you won't see anywhere else. And tonight's show is a prime example. This special edition of the OK Sports Wrap, Up Close with Boone, will continue after this.
Welcome back to this special edition of the OK Sports Wrap, Up Close with Boone. And before the break, we showed you a glimpse of the most important guy in Boone's office.
Meet Murdoch.
Are you trying to take him away from me?
You keep him. He'll stick with you.
He's real friendly.
He's like a good bird dog.
He's looking at you.
You know what a good bird dog is?
I mean, I know what a bird dog is, but I don't know what makes a
good
good
bird dog will hunt with anybody that's got a gun. So he'll hook up with you. He'll go,
"Hi, sugar.
do you want down? You want down, buddy?"
Can we put him down?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, he's pretty.
Yeah, well, he's beautiful.
Yes. How old is he?
He is 1 year and 1 month.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Okay, comes the treat. Okay, get this.
Oh.
Okay, now, whoop, no, I want you to sit. I want you to sit. Okay, now give me 5. No, sit. No, sit, Murdoch. Give me 5. Okay, high five. Now give me 5. Okay.
What a good dog. Oh my goodness.
T. Boone, whose net worth is now $1.4 billion, has had help along the way.
Everybody wanted to help me, and everybody wanted to help me was smart. And I told old Mike Holder one time, I said, when you're listening to somebody, I said, there are 3 things you want to ask yourself about that person. Holder said, what are they? I said, first one is, are they smart? and I'm getting ready to take advice. I want to be sure that they're smart. And I said, 2, they have no conflict of interest. And he said, what do you mean by that? And I said, they don't have any position they're trying to convince you to do in their behalf. So there's no conflict of interest, and they're smart. And he said, okay, what's the third one? I said, they love me.
One of the more prominent individuals Boone has taken advice from and given advice to was our country's 40th president.
This is Air Force One that I put that in the library at Simi Valley, in the Reagan Library, and I paid for putting that in there.
And why, I mean, where was the connection with the Reagans? Why are you so close with that?
Oh, I just think he's the greatest president I ever voted for, no question for me. And I came on board with him in 1980. He almost got the nomination in '76, and I said, that guy's got to be president. So I went on then. I was with him forever after.
Yeah.
So.
When I told our fans and viewers that I had the opportunity to interview you, several people want you to run for president. Is that going to happen?
We've thought about doing it, and we were going to wait and announce more at Labor Day. We don't want to get in too early.
Okay, I won't say anything, but that you could though.
At 84 years old,
why not?
Abigail, get serious. If I got in at 84, I'd be 100 when I got out.
To say that Boone is a jokester would be an understatement. Perhaps his sense of humor is another trait he inherited from his grandma.
Funny story on that. My mother was very sensitive about telling people her age because she looked so much younger than she was. And so she didn't want to tell anybody, but her mother was, my grandmother, was kind of funny, and somebody would be, and they lived next door to each other. My grandmother lived next door to us, and they would be with people or something. And after they left, my mother would say, "Mother, why do you insist on telling people my age?" And my grandmother would always smile and say, "Grace, I never tell anybody your age. I just tell them you were born in 1900. And she said, "A fool would know how old I was when you tell them I was born in 1900.
That's the easiest math you could ever have to do.
That's right.
T. Boone has been the focus of many satirists and cartoonists, but instead of taking offense, what did the tycoon do? He framed them and hung them on the wall so he and his employees could enjoy them.
Come on, Bubba, think, when did that Pickens guy stop in here? I stopped in and took off Phillips and put T. Boone. And then the guys that did these, they would give them to me. Said to T. Boone, if you ever decide to buy the Tribune, that was a Tulsa Tribune, said, may I return as a janitor. And so they're all originals.
Yeah.
See here, he said, someday, my boy, this will all belong to
T. Boone Pickens.
Along with the cartoonists, doctors have also studied Boone. They wanted to see what goes on in the billionaire's mind, literally.
That's where they did my brain.
Oh, very neat.
They said I had the brain of a 53-year-old. So that was good. I guess you could look at it in a way that I had not matured. And,
no, that you're still young?
This is, I think, is my DNA on those windows the way they have them. You see what I mean?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, they fixed those blinds that way, and I think they did it down here. But
really?
Yeah. It's not that way all the time. It was just for the opening of the building.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
When KSBI's conversation with Boone continues, we show you the softer side of the billionaire. See where Boone goes to relax after a busy week at the office.
Welcome back to this special edition of the OK Sports Wrap, Up Close with Boone. Now, if a guy has donated around $400 million to a university, in particular the football program, he's probably going to want to watch the games. And Boone travels via private jet to Boone Stadium for every home game. And recently, he invited us into his suite.
Nowadays, Boone prefers to enjoy the Cowboys games by quietly sitting in his suite in his orange chair, looking through his binoculars while chatting about the game with his granddaughter, Allie.
We're doing so good.
Having a big day.
I know.
After the game ends, Boone will hop on his private jet and head back to his office or his ranch, both of which display his passion for art. Proudly displayed throughout Boone's office, or museum as he likes to call it, are distinguished art pieces Boone has thoughtfully selected himself. Some pieces, like Boone, have roots in Oklahoma.
Those, you have seen those before. Those are prints. But those are in at the Oklahoma Cowboy.
The Cowboy Hall of Fame?
Yeah, don't
The
you remember
Western
they're in
Inherit-
that room and they.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that Wilson Hurley did those, and he gave me those prints. But he painted those, and he painted them. You remember they roll up, and they roll down on the walls. Okay, well he painted and then rolled.
Okay.
Painted and rolled, and didn't see it until it rolled down.
Until it was finished?
Can you imagine that?
But the largest portion of Boone's art collection adorns the walls of his home at his ranch, Mesa Vista. Boone's ranch is another moneymaker and museum for him, but it's more than that. It's his oasis. It's his refuge.
Somebody asked me, said, what are you going to miss most at the ranch when you die? And I said that I won't see those sycamore trees this big. But I love the trees up there, and I've brought in 10,000 trees over the last 20 years. And so those trees are kind of like, like children to me. And sometimes I lose one, and I hate it. It just makes me sick when I lose a good-sized cottonwood or sycamore. Or I've even got oak trees up there, which is unusual. You don't have many oak trees in the Panhandle of Texas.
When KSBI's conversation with Boone continues, we go from the expansive fields of Mesa Vista back to Boone's other field. The billionaire relives his favorite season at Boone Stadium right after this.
Welcome back to this special edition of the OK Sports Wrap, Up Close with Boone. Now, before the break, we showed you the expansive fields of Boone's oasis. Now, let's head back to Boone's other field as he relives his favorite season at Boone Stadium.
We had a great year last year.
The best year.
And now we lost the All-American quarterback, and we lost the Blitnikoff receiver, Justin Blackman and Brandon Whedon. I like the deal where those are both Oklahoma boys. Now, we love these Texas boys. I like to see them come to school at Oklahoma State. But last year I was being interviewed, maybe by Kevin, I'm not sure. But somebody, they said, how do you like the way it goes? And I said, well, here's Brandon Whedon on my right, which he was. I said, from Edmond, and he throws it, and Justin on my left from Ardmore, he catches it, and here's Boone in the middle. He builds the stadium. So we're all from I'm from Holdenville, they're from Edmond and Ardmore, so we were all Oklahoma boys.
But with success comes national attention, which means the Cowboys' enemies, other football programs, start taking notice of OSU's coaches.
You look at the offensive coordinator, and you look at Joe Wickline, and our assistant coaches are being sought every year after by other schools. I know that. And we used to have just a revolving door staff, but we don't have that anymore. Our staff hangs together.
Largely in part because of you.
Todd Munkin, I mean, he's one. He was there, left, and came back. And and Glenn Spencer. I mean, all those guys are serious assistant coaches.
Earlier this season, the Cowboys faced one of their own. Former OSU offensive coordinator, now West Virginia head coach Dana Holgorsen, traveled to his old home in Boone Stadium to face his former squad. Both West Virginia University and Texas Christian University were added to the Big 12 after the 2011 season.
And how do you feel about the addition of TCU and West Virginia?
Well, I was very much for TCU. I mean, TCU is old Southwest Conference school, and they have played well, and they have a great program, and I wanted them in first. They were my #1 pick, and I was surprised a little bit at West Virginia, but there's no question about West Virginia, you know, being a good football school. So we'll get plenty of competition out of those guys.
It's no secret, Oklahoma State University wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for T. Boone Pickens. Aside from the $400 million he's donated his alma mater, Pickens has become the face of the university. The Cowboy faithful hang on their fearless leader's every word when he's talking about the Pickens plan or being interviewed at halftime during a crucial OSU football battle. Before we finished the interview, I had to ask Boone how it makes him feel knowing the entire Orange Nation is proud to follow him.
Great, but I think I know how they feel. They've expressed that to me, but they also know I'm with them.
T. Boone went from making 28 cents a day to having enough wealth to provide his beloved school a stadium and much more.
What would be your advice to someone who wants that kind of success, wants to be Boone Pickens?
Well, one, you're going to have a good work ethic. And so good work that if you're not going to be willing to work, you won't get there unless you're just very, very lucky.
Right.
But good work ethic, and 2, get a good education, go to Oklahoma State, and you know, get out of school and just get in there and grind. And that's what I've done. People say, well, you haven't had much fun. I've had a lot of fun. You know, here, I'm 84. I come to the office every day. I've been in the office now 2 weeks in a row. I haven't traveled much, which is most unusual. I usually am on the road, you know, sometime during the week.
Will you ever stop working? Will you ever just enjoy?
Sure I will, when they put me in a box.
What a character. And as good a shape as Boone is in, I'd say he has many more successful years still ahead of him. On behalf of all of us here at KSBI, I'd like to thank Boone himself, Jay Rosser, Sally Guy Mueller, and everyone else at BP Capital for allowing us this inside look into the billionaire businessman from Holdenville, Oklahoma.